Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Chico, Rev, and Ben, yep, they're at it again. Breaking down the team, putting stats up in your head. Nothing left unsaid, they're leaving it all on the field. Just like the favorite team, raising 2 cups and we'll chill. The knowledge isn't real for a trio so true to representing the gray, red, white, and blue. And you love them too, that you can't deny. So just one time, let me hear Dallas till I die. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Soccer? Podcast? Huh.
And we're live. Hey, we are live, everyone. Welcome to Big D After Dark. Welcome to the show. We hope that there's going to be another joy-filled show coming at you next week, and not one where we begin to think back at the whole season. So we're going to hold that thought, because right now there is, in the next 24 hours, another FC Dallas game to play, and we're here to break it down and talk about the action against Seattle Sounders, and I'm here with the regular crew. We're so glad all of you who are joining us. But right here, you can follow me. I'm Nathan Hill at Nathan J. Hill. There in the middle is Ben Lyon at Bird Turgler on Twitter, and then there at the end is Jose Carmona at El Chico Carmona. And we're going to take your comments and questions live here. So if you have some insight, if you have a burning issue that you think Dallas needs to deal with to get a result against the Seattle Sounders, we want to take it live. We'll get it live on air, and we will talk about it, because we're ready for another FC Dallas game after their penalty kick shootout win over Portland Timbers to advance in MLS Cup playoffs. We got 24 hours. We got another match to enjoy. Hopefully it won't be as late, but we're going to break down what FC Dallas needs to do to come away and advance in MLS Cup playoffs. All right. So let me just get before we get into the breakdown, maybe I should do this, Ben and Jose, in that order. What's your anxiety level right now? With 24 hours to go. How you feeling about this, Ben?
Well, I've been having cocktails for the last 2 hours, and I have a fire in the fireplace right now. So my anxiety level is extremely low. And I've been reading the Sounders comments for the past week and hearkening back to the 2016 MLS Cup, where they won without putting a single shot on goal. So we're set up for some real humble pie tomorrow.
All right, Jose, how you feeling?
Well, I'm a very optimistic person, so I'm as relaxed as can be. You know, I couldn't be any more relaxed than I am at the moment. So, yeah, the excitement won't hit me till the game actually kicks off, and until that whistle blows. So I'm good. I'm ready
All
to
right.
see some magic.
Yeah, and you got some holiday magic there behind you, so that's great. Yeah, so let's we started talking about this last week, of course, after the Portland match on our show, and you can always go back and watch that one too to get that angle. But it's been a week. There's been a little bit of chatter, some rumors, some things, but it's been relatively quiet. There's a great piece in the Dallas News on DallasNews.com with Jimmy Moore that I recommend you check out. But I think the question still remains. Right now, Seattle are considered heavy favorites. Of course, it's at Seattle. That makes a lot of sense. And Seattle definitely probably has a little better gelling attacking quality at this moment. They looked good last week against LAFC, although they didn't look unbeatable. So let's just revisit where we are a week later. What does FC Dallas need to do? And who needs to step up for Dallas to get a result up in the Pacific Northwest? Jose, we'll start with you this time.
Well, I mean, it's going to be on Jimmy and Matt Hedges' shoulders, really. I mean, Seattle has a very deadly attack, and they love to hit people on with those quick strikes, quick passes. And they love to, strike quickly. And frankly, we're going to need guys like Hedges. Jimmy's going to get tested. The back line is going to have to be on point. And really, it's probably we're going to need a guy like Thiago Santos to have, a monster game also to help out that back line. Because the best chance for FC Dallas to advance is to make it an ugly game. I want to hear Sounders fans complaining about how dirty and rough the FC Dallas plays, and if they're crying about how their guys are getting roughed up, then that's great. Because don't get me wrong, Seattle's going to be doing their fair share of kicking and pushing and shoveling, but Sounders fans are oblivious to that. So if they're complaining about Dallas being rough and tough, then it's a good game.
I like that. Make it physical. Ben?
Make it physical.
What about you? What does FC Dallas need to do to get a result?
So I think they came out with kind of the right blueprint last game. But, yeah, I mean, I think ultimately what I've seen in the last few months is, like a couple of mistakes undoing them. So I've seen Brisson play a little impulsively. He needs to tighten that up. I've seen Hollingshead play a little bit sloppily. That needs to be tightened up. But, if the back, what I think is going to be a back five, tightens up and addresses their maybe some of the more impulsive behavior in the last month or so, then they're going to be fine if the midfield can hold up their end of the bargain. So I kind of think, the two primary central midfielders in that setup, it probably will be Tessman and Santos. If they can limit Seattle's chances and cause a few breakouts, then at worst you're going to end up with a similar situation to what we had in Portland.
Yeah, I think it's actually going to be Santos and Ricarte, in all honesty, but with Tessman as a second half sub.
I like Tessman coming off the bench just for his energy. And, we sort of thought about, we'll get to formation talk in a minute, but so I'll start with my sort of answer because I agree with you. Like it's an away game. Sure, there's nothing to lose for FC Dallas to push ahead, but Seattle is another kind of team that's built that they're going to punish you. They got speed. Jordan Morris alone can do a lot of damage. And you do have a young guy at Brian Reynolds at right back, so he could be. Brian Reynolds struggled a little bit against Portland. It was hard for him to get sort of his feet under him. Wasn't his best game. Wasn't a terrible game, but wasn't his best game. So yeah, I think there's a lot of questions like that I think Seattle's going to look to, and so it'll depend on how guys like Brian Reynolds steps up and Ryan Hollingshead. But I also think too, like one thing that FC Dallas has going for them right now is that they have a goalkeeper who is really confident. Jimmy Marr is probably the most confident he has ever been in his career. He said in the interview on the Dallas News article by John Arnold, said it was the highlight of his career so far. And this is a guy who's kind of been a journeyman, played in some lower division and had some success there, and so it's a big moment for him. So he's going to be coming in playing as confident as you can ask a goalkeeper. So if he stands on his head, Dallas is in this game. And of course, the rest of the team, the rest of the defense, they've got to do their part. Jimmy can't do it alone. So it bodes well for a good defensive showing. Then it turns over to what offense can we generate, and who knows at that point. I mean, so I have been waiting all season for that breakout game for Michael Barrios. We know it's there for him. He rested a little bit in the last game, came off and helped the team. But what if he starts, and what if he has one of those games that we'd love to see, and he gets a couple of those breakaway kinds of counterattack goals, and then it's game on in every possible way. So that's where I kind of am. I'm thinking defensive, as much as you might feel tempted to push the game, right?
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I want to add that even though Seattle has statistically a better defense than Dallas, they have some real weaknesses that people haven't been able to exploit. So they're like, for example, their starting right back right now is actually a defensive midfielder who's playing out of position right now. And actually his match, against LAFC, that was actually his first match starting at right back. And another thing is, Seattle's defense, I don't think, is as good as it's been in the past. Now, they say, okay, they're ranked higher than Dallas by a goal, but they hide that. Seattle is a team that, when you watch them actually defend with 5 in the back. Even though they start 4, when you see them actually defend, you can actually see that there's 5 defenders out back. So they hide their weaknesses very well. And I would add that their defense is actually helped by the fact that people are so worried about their attack, which is incredible. Lodero, Rui Diaz, Morris, that teams are loath, have to basically, they can't go after that Seattle defense like they would like to. So I think it's smoke and mirrors. I think Seattle's defense is vulnerable. It's there. There are weaknesses there. They can be. I am not impressed with their fullback, with their right back or their left back. I think they're weak on the wings, and we need Barrios, Pacalt, Hollingshead, whoever's starting on the wings. We need a huge game from those guys, because you need to put a goal on Seattle early, and that changes things for Seattle, because, like I said, Seattle would love to just basically defend with 5 in the back and then hit you on the quick counter, which they're excellent at that. But if you force them to basically come forward, then they're open to the counter. And like I said, I don't think their defense is as good as previous championship variations of Seattle. And like I said, you can see that there are holes there, but their defense is helped by the fact that that teams don't want to come after them because they're worried about that attack so much. So I think it's smoke and mirrors, and I think Dallas
Okay.
has to hit them on the counter and get a goal early.
You heard it here, folks. Jose, the legendary Jose Carmon himself says, "Smoke and mirrors." I hope you're right. I hope you are right.
Can you honestly? Can you name one of their defenders? I mean, I think Roldan, who's the guy that's starting at right back, is the only guy I can name because I know he's not a right back. I mean, they don't have that anchor like that they've had in the past. Their studs are their attackers and their defensive mid. Is it Roldan? The other Roldan. Those are their studs. It's the attack and their defensive mids that win them games. They are stacked, but I think their backline is susceptible.
Okay. Well, Ben, a week ago we were talking about after Pepe's great goal to keep Dallas in the game against Portland, of starting both up top. Are you still living in that kind of fantasy spot, lineup, or have you settled with something else?
I mean, like, I don't know that that's a fantasy at all. One thing that you've constantly seen, you've constantly seen out of Lucci is wanting to stick with a winning formula. And the winning formula last week was, like the last 5 minutes of the game. And then, the 30 minutes of extra time where FC Dallas really was on the front foot in Portland and, probably should have added a goal or two in extra time and not had to torture us with penalty kicks. But I think with the way that you're going to want to attack Seattle, Pepe's got enough speed to pair well with Hara if you're going to sit with a defensive posture and counterattack. He's not going to take the top off of defense, but he's still fast enough to get behind it, especially with, his proclivity as a target striker. He can do that.
My only concern about I love the idea, and I think the way the game ended in Portland, there's a lot of merit in that. But the only concern is just if you do have Hara get injured, to have some fresh legs off the bench. We are a little thin in that striker spot at this point, but hey, Jesus
is going to want to play.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's the question whether he starts or not. I mean, so how the formation looks. You're right. Jesus would be an option. That's a good thought.
Barrios would be an option.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. And even Fafa can play up there if necessary. So there are options. Just not the first choice options.
I think we are at the point where we're trusting Lucci. What his gut. I mean, because it's ultimately it's his decision. He's going to have to see what he sees in practice. And I mean, the stunners from that Portland game were Twumasi getting so many minutes, and who knows? We just and of course John Nelson starting, so we could see that same formula, that same formation. It'll be interesting to see how he takes this game and approaches it. Jose, what's the formation you're expecting to see?
Well, I'm expecting to see that road formation that we've seen, where it resembles more of a 4-2-3-1 with I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks with Nelson at left back and Hollingshead at left wing. I mean, that's worked on the road twice already, and like I said, Nelson really he behaves like a third center back out there, and so I expect Ricarte and Santos as the two defensive mids. I expect Barrios to start, of course. But again, wouldn't be surprised if he does something there like he did against Portland, and Hara up top. And I still expect Jesus to be that attacking mid that stays up high, simply because while his production hasn't been there, his position is really good, and it helps the team sort of stay true, and it makes defenses actually honor what Dallas is doing. And mind you, I want to add that here's one thing that Dallas fans are not used to seeing, and that is that Dallas is peaking. I mean, look at their best results all came in the past, month to 2 months, and whether you like how they went about it or not, it just seems like Dallas is figuring stuff out. You can honestly say that the team has gotten better, even if it's by the smallest thing. Look at how horrible they were on the road for the first 2/3 of the season, and compare that to where we've been in the last 4 or 5 road matches, and you can see where they've sort of figuring out and getting better at it, and hopefully we see an extension of that where Dallas plays better than they did against Portland, actually.
So I want to give a quick shout to one of our part-time pitchers down here who does a lot of
Can hardly hear you.
Yeah, you sound a little distant, Ben.
You sound like you're on the other side of the room.
You got close to that fireplace there for a minute.
Yeah, right. So let's start from the beginning here. I want to give a shout out to one of our more sporadic contributors, Sound and Fury, who does a lot of cool stuff with North Texas.
Yes.
He has noted that the left side does not distribute well whenever it's Hedges and Brisson as center backs right and left, and with Nelson on the left. And I mean, that's kind of why I would like a 5-man back line, not necessarily at the exclusion of Nelson, but with Ziegler as the far edge of a 3 center back line, just because we'll be able to maybe perhaps break out of Seattle's front foot mode, if that makes sense. And I haven't talked to him, but I mean, I kind of wonder if he feels the same way, having noted that multiple times.
I understand where that opinion comes from, but let's face it. If you're talking the left side, that means you got what, Morris coming from that side? Is that or is Morris coming from the other side?
Morris generally lines up on the offensive left.
So he'll be paired up against Reynolds. So yeah, I honestly,
Reynolds and Brisson, basically, yeah.
Well, I was mentioning how Nelson is essentially behaving like a third center back. So maybe we see Rito start at left back. I mean, he started there before, because honestly, our run of good form started when Brisson took over for Rito. So I don't see, honestly, we all know Brisson hasn't been perfect, but let's face it, the run of good form has been with Hedges and Brisson as the pairing, and if you want to throw Rito in there, I think you start him at left back. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if that's the way to go.
I don't know about that. I mean, like you end up with him against Jovan Jones.
But the point is, it would be a fake. He'd be a fake left back. It would essentially be a 3-man back line. On defense, but it would be you'd ask Rito to go forward whenever he could. So I'm just saying.
A false 5.
It'd be a false 5, in all honesty. And I'm just saying, it's what it is with Nelson anyway, because Nelson pretty much takes back and plays defense. So why not replace Nelson with Rito, who, by the way, has a very good long ball. So and isn't afraid to come forward. So mind you, Brisson loves to go forward also. So you could actually interchange Brisson and Rito at times sending one forward and keeping one back. So it would actually be kind of amusing.
So I love it. I mean, I like these ideas. My nightmare scenario has been pointed out is Redo, laying down against Nashville, just getting laid to the floor, put to bed, and
I understand.
that it was a tough
I understand
one, man.
that, but that's he didn't have Hedges back there to help him, and that's the difference. Is with Hedges is there to put out those fires. So I think that's the big difference. You need a huge game from Matt. Matt needs to basically, stand tall and just be, a part of that wall with Moore.
It will be interesting to see what Lucci does. I mean, I think we're all going to be waiting for that 30, 45 minutes before kickoff to see the lineup and see what to expect from Dallas, what Lucci is thinking, and it's going to be an exciting one, that's for sure. And there's a lot to like about thinking Nelson gets to start again, just because he has speed and he is a tenacious defender. He has that tenacious D, so we'll have to just see what comes out of it. I mean, I just think too. You're right, by the way, Jose. We say it all the time. We said it in past live streams. We say it on the site all the time. In the MLS playoffs, it's not about having that supporter shield, because in fact, as we've seen again this year, the supporter shield is a great achievement, but it doesn't mean anything in the playoffs. The playoffs are about peaking at the right time. So I appreciate that. And this is the thing for Dallas. If anything, Dallas has left goals out on the field from just unfortunate bounces, crossbars. I mean, every team does to some degree, but also things like Redo Ziegler free kicks that we haven't really had this year. So there, I am hopeful. I am ready for this team to have some of those bounces, have some of those clutch performances go their way. Maybe it won't happen tomorrow night, but it seems like it. It seems like this team is ready. I mean, deserving to just have some goals bounce in, have some of those deflections go in that they have suffered from. Am I right? Is this team due for a little bit of some luck, some gifts from the soccer gods? Ben, are we ready for it? Is it time?
Well, I mean, you got to create your own gifts, though, and they did not create many of their own gifts last game. Really, they only created a few, and I mean,
They created them when they counted.
Your two strikers created them both. Hara, a little bit offsides, clinical goal. Sad that it didn't count. And then, Pepe, on the counter out of nothing from a great looping ball from Matt Hedges. Those are your two clutch strikers right there. You need clutch players in the playoffs. I think Pepe really showed that he's got the clutch in him for this level, and he's done it before. He's done it at the USL League One level. He got them into a championship, and a long time ago. Actually, not really all that long time ago, because it was a couple of summers ago. He was
It just seems like a long time ago.
Yeah. Ended up watching him play in the Liga MX Sub International tournament. Is like a U16 or U15 tournament where it's all MX academies and MLS academies. I'm pretty sure he's the only MLS academy guy that won the Golden Boot. I mean, he just was incredible that tournament, and showed he could do everything. He really is he is a ridiculous cheat code at this point in time, and I think he's ready for the moment. That's why
All right.
that 5-3-2 with two strikers to start. Give me two clutch strikers who can score when the moment demands it out of them, and
Okay.
that's Franco Jara and Ricardo
All right.
Pepe. Yeah.
Sounds good. It's growing on me. And putting Ziegler out there again. My point is like that left foot is important. Has been important to FC Dallas's success in the past few seasons. So have that on the field, not just laid on as a sub, but the team. Lucci, we have to trust in Lucci at this point and what he sees, and we're going to count this season a success from their own sort of goals of advancing the playoffs. But all right, so we're gonna shift topics. We're gonna get back to our predictions in just a moment, but because we have two interesting rumors that we want to talk about that hit this week, and we usually don't get a lot of rumors sort of while games are still going on, but we got a rumor about a 36-year-old attacking midfielder that FC Dallas may or may not have some interest in, and we have the other bombshell news that, whether it has happened yet or it's going to be happening in the next few days, is that Juventus was rumored to be making a significant bid for Brian Reynolds, which was kind of out of nowhere kind of thing. But Jose, what can you tell us about those rumors?
So I'll tell you about the 36-year-old Argentine attacking midfielder. His name is Walter Montillo. He plays for La U de Chile. And there's a rumor that he's drawn. So basically, he's been treated badly by management there, and he's not very happy. So he has pretty much told them that he's leaving. He's not re-signing for them, and he's got 2 goals and 8 assists on the season. I think they've only played like 17 games or so. So, I mean, and the guy's just been balling for them. He's been one of their best players, and he doesn't feel like they've treated him as such. So he's going to walk. He's got interest from an unnamed 2 clubs in MLS. Santos is another team, and Cruzeiro, I believe, are the teams that were mentioned. The 2 rumored MLS clubs are Orlando and FC Dallas. And now, you know me, it doesn't sound like an FC Dallas signing because Dallas doesn't go out and sign older players. They sign younger players. But if you look at our current state of our team, who's our attacking midfielder that we're rolling out there? It's Jesus. And Jesus, while he's been okay, he hasn't really done anything that has made us said, oh yeah, he deserves to be, the unquestionable starter there as the attacking midfielder. So bringing in a veteran Argentinian, I mean, he wouldn't be that. I think it's 330,000 is his value. This is a guy that you could bring in and could be a guy that would be a key reserve, a guy that would come off the bench, start here and there. I mean, we don't know. I mean, we didn't think they'd go after Jara. He's an older player. So, I mean, there's room for a player like that on the roster. And a player like that would actually would be wonderful to have around this time of the year, in all honesty. So, the other rumor, of course, Brian Reynolds to Juventus. A lot of people are shocked by this. In all honesty, I mean, I've been following, Twitter, Facebook, and people are like, what? There's people out there who believe that Reynolds isn't even the best, young right back in Major League Soccer. But that just means they haven't seen him play.
That's right.
And I'm going to tell you a little story. I think Reynolds was part of a U16 team back in like 2018 that played in a tournament in Germany, by the way. So FC Dallas went down to Germany and played a stacked field, Bayern Munich. Juventus was there. I mean, we're talking, it was a who's who of teams, and it was FC Dallas that walked away with that title. They lost their first opening game against Bayern, and then they pretty much just beat everybody. And don't think that didn't catch everybody's attention to have an American team go into a stacked field with all these European heavy hitters. And so now you fast forward to today. Reynolds to Juventus for about 6 or 7 million is the rumor. That's not far-fetched. A lot of people that are shocked simply haven't seen Reynolds play. He's come in, and Dallas hasn't missed Reggie Cannon at all because Reynolds has basically stepped in and looked phenomenal. By the way, there's a third rumor. Which you failed to throw in there.
And there's a fourth one too we'll talk about, yeah.
The third rumor is Tanner Tessman is being watched by 3 Bundesliga teams, and like I said, that's also not a shocker at all.
Not at
all. Big, tall, physical, young midfielders. They don't grow on trees, and if you've seen Tessman play, he looks like he's ready to make a move to the next level.
That's right. It always makes sense. It always makes sense to me that these teams would go get the guys like Brian Reynolds, Tessman, while they're younger, on the younger end, and maybe haven't quite put it together, because you got then time to in your system to develop them further and see where they go. But the fourth thing is that Thomas Roberts is on trial at Hibs at Hibernian, and he is. And had to go through a quarantine period. So this is the week where we should maybe potentially see him in some action or get some sort of news.
He already got some action in with the Hibs 2. They won, and he actually had a goal. He scored 1 or 2 goals. So off of that performance, he's actually now training with the senior team for Hibs. So as far as I'm aware, his trial is going very well. But I'm hearing that he has several trials lined up with several European teams. So this is not he's going to Hibs and he's going to play for Hibs even if he has a good trial. He's going to check out he's going to check out his options.
Well, so good stuff. So the news is coming. It could be that kind of off season for Dallas, but
one more thing on that Roberts. He's still in contract. He's still in contract with FC Dallas for another year. So this is not like he's going on trial and he's leaving the club. If he leaves the club, it's going to be on loan or something along those lines.
Just got a nice little comment from the chat from Keith Reynolds. Says the rumor is true on Brian. So okay, good. So
that's great, and it's well deserved. Like I said. If people haven't seen Reynolds play, then the only people that are shocked are people that haven't seen him play. That's the honest truth. And I want to segue into something back on the Seattle game.
Oh wait! The guy's name is Keith Reynolds. I doubt it. Fake name, Keith. Nice try.
So, anyway, I just wanted to add that I think Reynolds. I was thinking back as to key matchups for the Seattle game. And believe it or not, my key matchup for that game is Reynolds against Morris. Because Morris, as great as an attacker as he is, he's asked to defend. And he doesn't look comfortable defending. And I don't know that he's faced anyone with the speed and skill going forward that Reynolds has. And that's really a matchup that I'm looking forward to seeing. Because if Reynolds can push forward and put Morris on his back heel and force him to play as much defense as attack, that's going to be immensely huge for Dallas, having a Morris that is too worried about helping his fullback defend against a marauding Reynolds. So I'd love to see Barrios and Reynolds basically start on the right side and just give that side of the Seattle defense fits, because it'll keep Morris at bay.
That's exciting. Well, all right, let's close out the show. Appreciate everyone watching. Let's do our predictions for tomorrow evening, and then we will say goodnight. Ben, you ready?
No. FC Dallas scores on counters twice, real quick. Seattle spends most of the game trying to get a goal back. They do late, but it's not enough. 2-1, FC Dallas.
Love it. All right, Jose.
I think Dallas gets a goal early, leads for most of the majority of the match. I think Seattle sneaks one back late in that game, and it goes to PKs, and Dallas advances by PK win.
Yeah, that's mine too. I think a 2-2 draw that goes extra time, and it's a nervy, hard-fought game, and it goes to PKs, and Jimmy, the legend Moore, comes up for FC Dallas.
Although my inner fanboy says 3-0 FC Dallas.
That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, my inner fanboy is that Seattle gets FC Dallas scores. Seattle gets upset. One of the players grabs the referee, gets red carded. Other Seattle players get upset at the referee. They also get red carded, and FC Dallas romps the rest of the way 10-0. But
you're gonna go that far, then you might as well go with there's a COVID breakout and Seattle has to forfeit.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, this has been fun, and it's fun every week, and we will be back Monday night. It may be our look back at the season after dark, or it could be the playoffs continue. So we enjoy the game. Let's get ready to stay up late. We have no idea what's going to happen. Let's hope for the best. Let's root for FC Dallas.
Can I say one final FC Dallas related rumor, and that's that rumors that Reggie Cannon will probably be on the move from Boa Vista, not to Lille, but he supposedly has multiple suitors from multiple countries that want him in this upcoming transfer window. And it's significant because FC Dallas owns 50% of his value, and you can bet that Lille's not going to let him go cheap.
All right. A lot of good stuff happening. So regardless of what happens tomorrow night, there's going to be a lot of news and information. So be sure to check out BigDSoccer.com. A bunch of good people writing articles and sharing their thoughts. And so we appreciate every comment and every view. All right. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night, everyone. And let's go FC Dallas.
Good night.
All right.